Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I'm gonna let you guys join in. Come on in, say hi. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If this is your first time, definitely let me know it's your first time so I can give you a shout out. Um, for those of you who don't know me or you're joining my live for the first time, my name is Aisha Chidole. I'm an immigration attorney. I represent clients in all 50 states of the United States and internationally with their immigration matters. I handle, different kinds of family immigration cases. Um, Good morning, BB. Good morning, Tasha in Florida, and Evie from Baltimore. It is so cold today in Florida. For those of us in Florida, hi Tuyan. Good morning. As you said, it's your first time. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, Brandon from New Jersey. Good morning. For those of you who enjoyed the snowstorm this past weekend, I was just looking jealously at the snow because my kids have been wanting to see snow since forever, but whenever we go to somewhere where it snows, we always leave right before it snows. Um, Anyway, guys, let me just quickly put my phone number for those of you who want to get in touch with me about your immigration matter. It's 407-995-6567. You can also send a WhatsApp 404-333-8751. So today I want to talk about conditional green cards versus legal permanent residence, and just clarify some of the confusion and what is the difference. Typically, when you get married and your spouse petitions for you to get a green card, if at the time that you're approved for the green card, you've been married less than 2 years, you're going to get a 2-year green card. If you've been married for more than 2 years, you're going to get a 10-year green card. So now the question is, well, what is the difference? Like, how do I get a 10-year green card versus a 2-year green card? Good morning, Cleopatra, Angie, Leisha from YouTube. Good morning, Sandra from Facebook. Good morning, everyone, just in case I don't get to you. Um, so, so the question is really now, Fifi said, add your number. You said it so fast. Fifi, I really don't know how to add my number and pin it on Instagram. Let me try. Guys, hold on. Let me try and see if I can do it. But it's 407-995-6567. It's also in my profile. So you can just check. How do I pin that? Can you pin? Okay, look, I figured it out. Pinned. There you go. That's my number on there. I just figured out how to pin on Instagram. I'm learning, this technology thing with you guys every day. So, as I was saying about conditional green cards versus 10-year green cards, the idea behind a conditional green card is that, they believe that you've been married for a short time and, they want to make sure that this marriage is legitimate. So they're going to see how things go in the next 2 years with that conditional green card. And then at the end of that, you can file to remove the conditions on the green card to become a permanent resident. Whereas a 10-year green card is your legal permanent residence, meaning there are no conditions to your green card. There are no conditions to your green card. If your green card expires, you have the choices of either filing for a renewal, or you have a choice of filing for citizenship if you qualify or you're eligible, versus if your conditional green card expires. You cannot renew a conditional green card. You have to file for what we call removal of the conditions on your green card. And I want to talk about this and sit here first a little bit, just because, a lot of people always ask when they get a conditional green card, well, are they going to interview me again? Well, what's going to happen or whatever it is. So I just want you guys to know that conditional, out of all the interviews that I do, believe it or not, like I always say, getting a green card to me is easier than removing conditions in your green card and becoming a US citizen. Because the closer and closer and closer you get to US citizenship, somehow things become more difficult. So when you are filing to remove the conditions on your green card, some of what they're going to be looking for are a continued bona fide marriage. A continued bona fide marriage. So what that means is that whatever you sent to them before they gave you that conditional green card, those things become irrelevant. So let me use an easy date, for example. Let's say you got your green card in 2020, January 2020. So obviously, you're filing for removal of condition in January 2022. Well, you should file it before January 2022. Like, you can file it as early as 90 days before the time. They are going to be looking at you and your spouse's relationship from January 2020 till the date you submit, until the day you have an interview. So they don't want things from 2018, 2019. When they're asking for taxes, they don't care about your 2018 or 2019 taxes. They want to see, after you got your green card, how were you living? Were you guys like, okay, we got a green card, peace out, I'm out. So they want to see that. So it is really important that if you're a conditional green card holder, that you continue to accumulate and acquire bona fide evidence of your marriage, up until you file for removal and you get approved for removal. And catch this, if the more evidence that you guys have and you submit, if you're doing a joint removal, the more odds that they would actually bypass your interview and just approve you, just send you your green card, right? Now, even though I said, they will bypass you and send you your green card, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong if they call you for an interview. Because every officer is different. Some officers will just call you for an interview, especially if you're doing a waiver, meaning you're doing a waiver, and a waiver means that you and your spouse cannot file together. So you're doing a waiver because either your spouse, you and your spouse got divorced, or you and your spouse, are have you have an abusive marriage, or your spouse has passed away. So in those cases, sometimes they'll call you for an interview, and sometimes they'll also bypass an interview. So even though they call you for an interview, I don't want you to be nervous or scared that, oh my goodness, they're calling for an interview, because they call more people than not for an interview. But yeah, there are also very many times where just there's just too much evidence. There's nothing else you can ask the person, and then they can bypass your interview in that situation. So sometimes if they need to get more clarification and understanding, that's when they'll call you for an interview. So it's really important that you gather those evidence for that time. And so the other differences between a 2-year and a 10-year is that, is this really a difference? Let me go over it. If you have your 10-year green card, and you get divorced, you can obviously petition for somebody else, like another spouse that you married or something like that. But if you have a conditional green card, and you've not removed the conditions on your green card, you can petition for your children and stuff like that, but you can't, for your spouse, because you technically, have not removed the condition with the current spouse you're in, you know. And then some similarities are that, with conditional green card holders and green card holders, if you and your spouse have been married for 3 years and you've had the green card for 3 years, you can apply for citizenship. So even though they've now removed the conditions on your green card, or your application is pending, you can still submit the application for your citizenship. What will end up happening is that they will schedule you and your spouse, they'll schedule you and your spouse to first remove the condition on your green card, and then they'll do the naturalization, which is a citizenship interview, all at the same time. So those are some, there's a lot more to talk about, but because I only have 10 minutes left, so I just want to answer some of the questions. But generally, the key thing that you need to know is that when you have a conditional green card, you need to remove the conditions of your green card. You need to still show you have a bona fide marriage. When you have a 10-year green card, you're just filing for citizenship at year 5. There's no point of, renewing your green card 10 years later. Just get your citizenship and be done with the entire immigration process. With that, they're not looking for evidence of a bona fide marriage if you're not removing conditions. If you're not filing for citizenship based on the 3-year marriage requirement. Okay, so let's answer some questions. How long after the medical exam expires? What are you asking? Are you asking me how long? Are you asking, if you do your medical, how long do you have it before it expires? if that's what you're asking me, the answer is, well, for those of you who don't know what they're talking about, medical, when you're applying for a green card, you need to do medical exams. They need to make sure you don't have certain diseases or issues that US considers things that will bar you from being admissible as a green card holder. Typically, the general requirement is 2 years. However, with COVID, they made some exceptions where they're allowing, medicals for 4 years. So, you can certainly prepare your medical with you, on your application and submit. You can also do your medical right before your interview and take it with you to the interview. So it just really depends. For me, um, when I have like marriage based cases or like, vow based cases and stuff like that, because sometimes we don't really know how long it will take before they call for an interview, especially in the world of COVID, my preference is to take the medical to the interview. The only times that I will tell the client to prepare their medical for submission is when I know that there's a strong likelihood that an interview will be bypassed. And typically, you see interview bypasses when you're dealing with a child, or a parent, because with those, they don't really need to interview, and they're doing a lot of bypassing because of COVID. Um, okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? I've been married now for going on 7 years, and I'm still waiting for a 10-year green card interview. So I understand you've been married for going on 7 years, but when did you submit your petition? So the answer to that question will depend on when you submitted your question. Can you guys on Instagram hear me? I know that somebody just called my phone, and sometimes when someone calls my phone, nobody can hear me anymore. So if you can hear me, just confirm that you can hear me. But for those of you on for this person asking this question on Instagram, it depends on when. But if you have checked the USCIS processing time for your case, and then you've passed the processing time, one of the things that I recommend to you is for you to either reach out to your local congressman for assistance in helping USCIS make a decision, or to move forward with your case, or the USCIS ombudsman. An ombudsman is not a physical person, but it's a division within the USCIS who are advocates for people who apply for petitions, and to make sure USCIS is moving forward strategically. I always say it really depends on who your congressman is. When I choose whether to tell clients to go with an ombudsman or a congressman, so it will depend on knowing your zip code, who's a congressman, who's a senator for that place. How long does it take to get conditions on your green card removed? Right now, it's taken about 24 months, 18 to 24 months, but no worries. Once you submit your petition for removal of conditions, you're going to get a 24-month extension to your green card, so that way you're not out of a green card while they're processing your case. So Cleopatra on YouTube says, if I have a child in another country and my spouse petitioned for myself and my child, how long does it take to get your child to the USA? So the answer is really going to depend on, one, what country your child is in, and two, if visa appointments are available. Some countries, after the I-130 is approved, you can go in there and NVC, do your application, and the thing will move on to whatever country it is, and there'll be visas available. And then there's some other countries, like, I'm going to use Nigeria as an example, just because that's what we're dealing right now with, a couple of our clients trying to get them interviews where there's literally no interview available. So a lot of that plays in, but I would say that, you definitely want to allow yourself to think that's going to take at least 15 to 24 months, from start to finish of the entire process, just because, one, there's a lot of backlog from, when all the borders were closed and all the embassies were not, seeing any applicants. So they're catching up. I don't know what the plans are to make things go quickly, but it's country specific, and it's hard for any lawyer to really guess when that will be done. Okay, I have 3 minutes. Let's see. Let me see what else. Good morning, Krishna from Poughkeepsie, New York. I will always remember Poughkeepsie, New York, because when I came back to America for college, I used to work at Stewart, which is a gas station in Poughkeepsie, New York. I used to serve coffee, and I used to make coffee, which is probably why I absolutely hate coffee and the smell of coffee. I used to wear a red uniform and a cap, but and it used to be super cold there. So Virgo says, I have advanced parole and I'm waiting on my interview day. Is it okay to travel? Well, without knowing what your immigration history is, I cannot tell you personally if it is okay for you to travel. However, if you have advanced parole and you enter the country with inspection or without inspection, and you don't have any pending like removal proceeding or deportation proceeding, generally it's okay to go outside the country and come back. I would say try not to go out of the country for too long. If you're going for a week, 2 weeks, come back, just because you don't want to be stuck there when they schedule an interview, especially now with the rise of Omicron. I don't really know what the countries are going to do, but you don't want a situation where borders are closed and you can get back here. The other thing is, if you do travel outside the country, I always tell people, make sure you are traveling with a second copy of all your travel documents, your passport, your green slip of approval of your advanced parole, and your card of your advanced parole. You take all those, the originals, and then you take the copy, and you want to put them in different things. A lot of times when you travel, depending on if you have a connecting flight or another, you might have you might lose your luggage or something like that. Oh, you guys can't hear me on Instagram? Oh my goodness. I knew this was gonna happen. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right, guys. Sorry, Instagram. You gotta come join me on Facebook, because I'm literally about to be done. So there's no point of me, relogging on. I'm so sorry about that, guys. But anyway, so yeah, so you want to make sure you're keeping both packages with you in two different luggages, just so that if one gets lost, you can get another one. Okay, guys. Sorry, Instagram. I knew this was gonna happen. Whenever somebody calls me on the phone, it disconnects me. But I will try and be back on. Oh wait, I have an interview tomorrow. Wait, what time is it? Okay, no, I don't have my interviews on Thursday, so I'll be back on live on Instagram tomorrow. And you can ask me your questions. All right, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. And I will see you guys tomorrow.